going on, good people? Welcome back to Cook It Up with Chris. So today we're making us some scratch made tomato sauce or tomato pasta sauce, red pasta sauce, however you want to say it. Italians, I'm trying to make you proud today. Let's do this. So my wife already has some of these tomatoes. She got started yesterday for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and dump these over in. I am going to show you how we got to this point right here, but I'm going to go ahead and turn this on some medium heat. Going to add a little salt just to help with that moisture pull to get us started. So over here is our starting line, and so what we're doing, we're getting this water brought up to a boil. While we wait on that, we're going to cut this thicker piece out of the tomato. This little stem piece. And we're going to discard that. This one's frozen. We're going to do the same thing. I think. Woo! Frozen. Get the gist of it. Now I'm gonna wait on this water to boil, and then I'll show y'all the next step. Alright, so this water is just about boiling. So we're gonna take our tomatoes, chop them over in. We're gonna let them go for a couple minutes until they be ready to peel. And let's see if you can see it. See how frozen's already starting to peel a bit? Alright, now after about 5 minutes or so, these tomatoes are ready to be peeled. You see the one I cut in half, super ready. Tomatoes don't freeze and thaw well. They come out mushy anyway. But yeah, I'm gonna let these chill for a second and then I'll cut them up. So our tomatoes have calmed down a little bit, and peeling them is as easy as this. That's to peel off half of one. I'll go to peel off the other half. Now for the one that was still whole. Hot. You see this joint had a defect from growing, so it's gonna have to peel in sections, but it works the same way. And believe it or not, most of them sauces that you get in the store, they don't come from the prettiest tomatoes around. It might be the breed of the best tomatoes, but they usually use the blemished ones to make the sauces and put the pretty ones on the shelf for you to buy. So now we're just gonna take these and add them over in with the rest. And it's the same thing with applesauce. It's never the pretty apples going into your apple juice. It's the ones that don't look right that you probably wouldn't pick up off the shelf. Move them around. Alright, so now we about an hour into this cook time. And so now we're going with our masher. And we're just gonna start breaking these tomatoes up. And yes, there's a lot of liquid in here. We're just depending and waiting on that to evaporate. Chunky up in here. I'm gonna get my smaller masher. Smaller holes on it. Let's try to break it down a little bit more for my liking. I do believe in the end I'm gonna go through with a immersion blender to make it smooth. But until I decide for sure, I might just keep it chunky. I'm just gonna break it up like this with the masher for now. Now with an hour in, we add these ingredients. So some garlic, much. If you want to, you can leave all these. You can chop all these things up to put over into your sauce. Chop them up fine. That way you can leave them over in there. But for me, I'm not gonna chop them up too much. At all, really, on most of it. I'm just gonna get this basil once through. So you got your basil and garlic. And I'm gonna use a half an onion. Alright, now with this onion, I'm leaving the root connected. So I'm gonna try to half this baby right through the root. And now we still got 2 parts to go. So coming right back over here. On the most basics of basics, you need some salt, pepper, garlic, onion, basil, oregano. So we're gonna hit it with our fresh basil. We're gonna put our garlic over in there. And then we're gonna put our onion halves in. And I don't have any fresh oregano, so I'm going in with some dry oregano. That's about a little bit over a teaspoon worth. And like I said, you could be basic and just go with some salt and pepper from here, but we ain't basic around here, so we're gonna add some of the M9 AP seasoning. It's about a tablespoon to start with, just to get the flavors throughout. And you can add more later when you get towards the end to taste it. So we're gonna stir all this in. And we're gonna give it another hour to do its thing, stirring like every 10 to 15 minutes or so. Forgot for a second, for stability and flavor, gonna add some red wine vinegar. Just about a tablespoon or 2. And we're stirring. Y'all see it starting to thicken up a little bit. Can y'all see it through the steam? What's it looking like? Nice little chunky sauce going on right now. Alright, so now we're about an hour and a half in. You can see maybe you can see through the steam that you're seeing more tomato now and less liquid. At some points when you stir, you can actually see the bottom of the pan. So now you want to start watching it even closer, because it won't be long. You got you a good chunky soup going on right now. I mean, a chunky tomato sauce going on right now. And if you want it thinner or more saucy, just let it evaporate more. So we're gonna make this another 30 minutes or so. All right, so here we go. And now we about an hour 45 in. And I think we got some chunky sauce that some nonas would be all right with. All right, well, what we gonna do, we gonna smooth this baby out. So I'm not gonna take everything out, but I'm gonna get these big chunks of onions out. And the only reason I'm taking the onions out is because if I leave them in, they're gonna change the color of the sauce and it'll get an orange hue to it. So, and one of them that fell apart a little bit over in here. There we go. So I did leave like 2 leaves of this one over in there. Now, next step, we're going in with the immersion blender and we're gonna grind everything down. Gonna smooth that baby up. not trying to go soupy, just getting the majority of chunks out, but some chunks are fine with me. Searching out my chunks of garlic, making sure I get those touched. Some chunks of onions I left and the basil leaves, trying to get those down to a smaller size. Now we're gonna give it a little taste. And you see, still on the chunky side right now, but a lot less chunky than it was. And I think I'm good with that. That way you can have a chunky sauce, so if you want it thinner for something else, you can still go back and thin it out a little bit more later on. But that's a good consistency for me. And so, let's get a taste of this to see where we at on seasoning now. Because right now we're basically done for the most part. Oh, that's good. So delicious in a simple way. My God. We're just gonna hit it with a little bit more of that AP seasoning. Just about a teaspoon or so. And we're gonna get that mixed in. And we're just gonna let it cook for about another 5 minutes. Just thicken up just a little bit more. And we'll be done. All right, now we're done. We're gonna turn that heat off. Give it one last, oh Lord. Just splash the mess out of myself. Give it one last little movement. So we got us a mason jar. We're gonna go ahead and can it up. So put my funnel up here. And we're gonna take this pretty pot of tomato sauce. Nice and chunky. Oh Lord, don't do that. Right over, straight off the eye into the jar. Oh Lord. Got too much. Gotta find something to do with that a little bit. What? Mason jar filled. You gotta leave that head space to help it seal properly. And so we're gonna put our lid on. Touch that jar real quick to tighten it up. And we're gonna sit that baby off. And it's gonna take care of itself. And let's make sure it ain't too hot. And there goes your fresh pasta sauce or tomato sauce, whatever. Or pasta sauce, because we actually seasoned it. Yeah. Y'all enjoy that. I know I will. Alright, it's not enough to can really. So I just toasted up some bread. And we're just gonna eat that baby on the bread. Oh, that's delicious, man. That's so good and so fresh. That's so much better than anything off the shelf I ever had. My favorite sauce off the shelf, no seasoning added, that's Rinaldi's. And this is better than that to me. Now I do like to get some Hunt's tomato sauce, pasta sauce off the shelf if I'm gonna season it up and doctor it up, or Rinaldi's if I'm not gonna do any of that. But man, with this right here, you don't need none of that. Y'all enjoy.